Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw Tips and Tricks, and somebody sent me this font. I didn't have this font before. It's French script. It's pretty cool. I like it. And they need to make a cake topper. So I started playing around with it. And cake topper is an easy one. Be all joined together and then put your stick here. Now Bobby and Brianna are going to be a little bit harder. So this is a font. We're going to left click, right click to look at it in the hairline. And I already see a problem right here with the font. I don't know what's going on there, but we can very easily fix all that, and then it would just be your imagination how you would make the names. We're gonna Control K and then Control K again, hit that word, Control K, and what that's gonna do is gonna break all the letters apart. So all the letters are now individually. Normally I would just weld it right here, but I need to fix this. So what we need to do is convert all this to a curve. So I'm going to go to Object and convert it to a curve, and that kind of breaks it apart. Now we can look at the nodes and we can fix this part of the font. I don't know if that's on every letter or just a double B, but we're going to select that node, hold down the shift key and select that node, and we're just going to move it. Well, I didn't do it, but I'm just going to move this over and kind of make it look like. Now what we could also do, and this is a good thing to think of, we could delete that letter and delete that. Well, see, that's part of that letter. That's what the problem is. Break the curve apart. We can delete that part. Now we can grab the B. I don't think I got it all. You know what? That is part of the O, so we're going to break that curve apart. Now we're going to grab the B, Control D, and make a duplicate. And I really want to nudge it over, so I'm going to nudge it over like a half of an inch at a time. And I needed to change my nudge before I made the duplicate. So we'll Control D and make a duplicate. And because I backed up my nudge. So there's our duplicate. So I'm going to back up again and then change my nudge to half of an inch, grab it all, Control D and make a duplicate, and then just nudge it over. Then kind of holding down the control button, just kind of move it over about where that was. That way you don't have to repair that. Now we're going to get rid of all these interior break lines, and we're going to just select it all. This is a pretty good project. Take it and weld it together. And because we broke it into a curve first, we have a problem with the interior parts. So I'm just going to move them out of the way. And we actually had a duplicate there on top of the duplicate. Sometimes when you double click, you'll get, so I'm going to have to move that up to move this down. And I'm actually going to move them down twice. You know what? I got the outside of the O. I want the inside of the O out of the way. Now we can move these back. Move this back up, and I think that's a duplicate also, and it is. Because I broke it to a curve first. So I'm going to have to move that one. There's another duplicate. So I'm going to take that O and move it down and get rid of that one. That looks like that's probably a duplicate there. So we need to do the A. This is the thing you have to do if you, I'm going to have to break the curve apart. Get that inner A and move it down. Break the curve apart. Well, evidently I didn't have to. Yes, I do. I'm going to select it all to make sure I have it. Maybe I didn't convert it to a curve earlier on that letter. Now I can go to Object and break curve apart. Now we're going to try to get the inner one down. And this is something you don't have to do if I would have not converted them to a curve first. Now we're going to weld all that. Well, I forgot to take away the interior parts. So any interior parts it's going to weld, it's going to make them disappear. So I'm going to grab everything, I'm going to weld them together. Now I can move these back. And because you're using the nudge distance, you can put them right back. And that looks like a duplicate, and it is. When you've done Corel a little while, you can start seeing double lines. They're just a hair thicker. So now we're done, but we need to connect these letters. And that's very easily done, especially with this font. I think this is going to be my new font of choice. And because they're curves, let's zoom in here. We just need to join these letters. So we're going to grab those two nodes and we're just going to bring this down. No, it's completely changing the O. So maybe we'll add a node right there by double clicking, bring that node down. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this just because you're going to get the idea. And then we could bring that up. We could delete that node, actually delete that node. And then we could grab that and make it more look like the B. And this is another time that we could have done this by using both the B's after we've got them fixed. But because I kind of messed up there, we'll just do it the old way. Delete that node, take that and just kind of shape it back. I really need to move these up a little bit more. I'm gonna have to zoom in, grab those two nodes, and you just need to be inside. And you could play around this to make it perfect. Then we're gonna grab the Y, and you can change that to make it look more like that. And I'm gonna go ahead and do the whole letter, the whole word, because we're gonna have to rearrange the and sign if we're gonna figure out where we're gonna do it. So I'm actually gonna just bring that over real quick. Kind of messes it up a little bit, but we could bring this back down, maybe even take that R and do like that. And whoever I'm doing this for, you'll have to play around. Now we do need to move the I because that's not going to stay. So we're going to go to Object, Break Curve Apart, and move our I down just enough to where it catches out of the part. That way it won't break off. And it's a pretty good, because it's that shape, it'll stay there good. So then we're going to delete these lines with the virtual segment delete key. All the other lines are good. This is a pretty easy wording. Now, if you try this with that font, it might not be quite as easy. But we still need to delete these lines. And then I'm going to use the Smart Fill tool to fill it in and kind of seal everything. Is basically welding it. I knew I was going to get in trouble if I didn't zoom in. So I'm going to zoom, just delete all these lines. And that looks good. Now we're going to use the Smart Fill tool. And it's going to fill everything in and make it, okay. It kind of shows you, we need to do one more step. We need to connect the two B's, parts of the B. You could do this a couple of different ways. Probably the easiest thing would be to just take this and move it like that. Maybe move this one down. And then just take your virtual segment delete key. And maybe to make it stronger, you could actually connect it here also, because that's a lot of letter on that little bitty part. So let's go ahead and do that, because that's what I would suggest. Let's grab those two nodes and just kind of bring this up. Maybe delete that node, grab that node and kind of elongate it, and then just use this. And you'll probably never use this. You might use this font, but you're not going to probably use Bobby and Brianna for sure. So now we're just going to nudge these out of the way after we have them filled up. And what that does, that seals everything. So the same thing on this Brianna part. We'll grab these two nodes. Now this will be a little bit stronger because it's got that other part. But if you wanted to make your B's the same, you could actually just copy that B over after you've done some things. So let's Smart Fill that now. So now this is really trash. We don't need it anymore. I would never just delete it. I would put it there. So now we're going to take this and we're going to left click, right click. So now we have the two names. Now you need to connect these together. And there's a number of ways you could connect them together. One would just be to put a straight bar, but it's kind of taken away from the look of it. Maybe if we could see if we could fit the words on top of each other, and I am not a graphic artist, and that might be pretty cool because we're going to have two letters to join it to, top and bottom. I'm going to change my nudge factor to something less, 0.02, and I'm going to move the Bobby over just a little bit where it catches that O. Now we're going to zoom in here, and we're going to use our virtual segment delete key on this, this, and this. So that joins all that together. This might look pretty cool. So now, if we use the Smart Fill tool, it's going to fill it all in. That's pretty cool. It looks good. Left click, right click to take away the fill and give us an outline. And then all you'd have to do is put a stick if it's going to be a cake topper or a placemat. You need to kind of weight it because the Bobby's hanging over. You need at least a 1/4 of an inch stick. So if you go 0.25 by 8 inches long, I didn't have my ratio on lock. I had it locked. So now I've got a 0.25 by 8 inch long stick. And you could always curve the end. And now this is kind of a deal you don't want to take away from the letter, but you kind of need to be like right in there. And you could actually taper this in. If we take the shape and convert it to a curve, now we can taper this in just ever so slightly. Maybe move it down. So the bottom is still a 1/4 of an inch for strength. Let's grab the virtual segment delete key and delete this. I want to look at that right there. I've got a little bit of that left right there. Now I would always round off the bottom of the stick if you're going to stick it into cake, but it really should be done before I convert it to a curve. So now we're going to Smart Fill that, and there's your cake topper. Pretty cool. I actually like where it's getting thick to thin, thinner at the top. But you just have to use your imagination on wordage right there. This might be a little fragile, because it's all hanging, at least it's touching two letters. But you could always, tell you what, the video's kind of getting long. I might make another little video on how to make it a little bit thicker. Hope that helped a little bit. Thank you for watching.